So today we're going to look at the concept of the unit generator in synthesis, in digital music, digital sound. And we're going to look at a sine wave oscillator, sine wave generator, digital sine wave oscillator, which is really going to be the building block for a lot of things. It's a very, very useful tool. If you start doing digital audio, you'll be using it all the time. And, all the different programs and modular synths and such, they all use a sine wave oscillator. So in Supercollider, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to put this in, don't worry about the curly bracket bits. I'm just going to put this into a function here. And we use a Ugen called sine os. And then Supercollider has two different sort of rates. Their Ugens operate in either an audio rate or a control rate. So sound making objects are audio rate, and generally control objects are control rate. And to designate an audio rate, you just do .ar. Right, so sine os AR. And I think I mentioned this before in a previous tutorial. All Ugens will have a little bit of a scope there, two parentheses. And within those parentheses, that's where you can put the different arguments. So in our case, you would maybe change the frequency, or you would change various things. And if you just go in, pop into the two parentheses there, and maybe even just put a comma or something, or you notice when I started creating them initially, the IDE automatically shows me the arguments there in this yellow area, which is very handy. So sine wave oscillators basically is oscillating a sine wave, which creates really a pure tone for our purposes now, without getting into the physics of it. Just at this instance, we'll be generating a pure tone, a pure wave. So if I just do that right there, and I need to make sure I boot, which it's already booted my server, and if I just evaluate that, command return, I get a nice sine wave there. Okay, so, and command period to stop any audio. There you go. So that's a sine wave oscillator. It's very easy, and this is going to be the heart of our mouse theremin, because obviously it's a sine tone that we're playing. We're playing a sine tone, but we're for the mouse theremin, we're able to control that sine tone, its volume, and its pitch using our mouse. All right. But the bigger concept here is this idea of this unit generator, sineos.ar. For example, there's loads of Ugens, and if you go to the help file, command D, you can go to, for example, browse, and down here they have Ugens. So it's 1,235 of them, and you can look at these different Ugens. So the idea of the Ugen is it's on a little snippet of code that sits on the server that you can just call and use its functionality without having to worry about all the code within it. So in this case, I can just create an oscillator by using sineos.ar and changing the arguments. For example, if I want to make a lower frequency one, the default is 440, but if I go, say, 200, for example, I can create a lower sine wave. And I'd encourage you to go and explore. Let's see. Let's see what kind of oscillators they have. Do they have an oscillator section? Base conversion, envelopes, files front end, lots of kind of things here. Convolution conversion, info Ugens, physical models, multi-channels, synth control triggers. Here's a tour of Ugens. That's a nice one as well. So you can go to the tour of Ugens. So, for example, we can do a saw wave. Let's see. We can use var saw maybe. So go var saw, and then play that. And that's a saw wave. There's a blip. We can try that. Blip. Okay, so you see by changing the word, simply changing this word, you're calling a different unit generator, which is a chunk of code sitting on the server, and you're able to use it by changing the arguments, etc. Okay, so that's basically how we're going to do most of our synthesis is by using these unit generators, and they do different things in addition to oscillators. I mean, basically they're a lot like actual modular synths. You have filter modules, for example, and you have delay modules, or you have envelope modules. You can imagine each of these as being its own sort of module that you can plug into other modules. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and yeah, let's tie that up there. So just it's worth exploring some of these Ugens and understanding how to call a unit generator, and then this idea of the scope with arguments in it. Those are three sort of basic concepts that basically, if you get into Supercollider or any synthesis, you'll be using over and over again. So it'll become second nature, hopefully.